In China, a new spherical robot is helping police with security patrols and is equipped with advanced features. How will this change public security? Let's explore more in our next story.
In China's Wenzhou city, a unique robot has joined the local police officers for patrolling.
In an announcement that sent shockwaves through global intelligence communities, China revealed that for the first time in history, a head of state, President Xi Jinping, will be protected by humanoid robots. No longer the domain of science fiction or speculative tech expos, robotic bodyguards have stepped into the real world of geopolitical security. For many, the revelation marked not just a technological leap, but a symbolic shift in how world power is projected and protected. The revelation came quietly, embedded in a routine press release from China's presidential security team. But the world took notice. The implications go beyond showmanship. This signals a new frontier in state-level AI deployment. It's one thing to build robots. It's another entirely to entrust them with the safety of a nation's most powerful figure. Details remain scarce, likely by design. The security apparatus has not disclosed how many robots are in operation or what their exact capabilities are. But speculation is rampant. Could they be armed? Are they equipped with autonomous decision-making? What protocols guide their actions in a threat scenario? This is more than a futuristic gadget moment. This is a message. As the world watches tensions escalate in numerous theaters, technology, territory, trade, China is making it clear it is not just participating in the race for AI supremacy, it is leading it boldly and unapologetically. And now the question arises, who built these robots and what can they truly do? Why this changes everything? No world leader, not even the most tech-savvy, has ever deployed robotic bodyguards in an official capacity. Until now. With China's decision to integrate humanoid robots into the protective circle around President Xi, the global security framework has entered uncharted territory. This isn't a gimmick, it's a paradigm shift, one that redefines what leadership security looks like in the age of artificial intelligence. The move challenges long-standing assumptions about the limits of robotic integration. Until recently, even the most advanced robotics remained in experimental or niche roles. Factory lines, healthcare assistants, and scripted public demonstrations. But stepping into the inner ring of presidential security, that's a signal of maturity, trust, and high-function functionality. What this moment also does is blur the lines between what was once fiction and what is now factual. For decades, pop culture envisioned a future of robotic protectors. Today, that vision has crossed into the halls of power, and the rest of the world must now grapple with the consequences. Are we looking at progress or the beginning of something more complicated? Ethical and strategic questions loom large. How do these robots interpret threats? What happens in the gray zone between suspicious behavior and actual danger? Do they defer to human command or act on their own judgment? And if they malfunction, who bears responsibility? This isn't just a development in robotics. It's a test of how humanity redefines trust, safety, and control in an increasingly automated world. And if one country takes this leap, others won't be far behind. Already, speculation is swirling about who created these robotic sentinels, and one name keeps coming up. The mystery developer. Could it be Unveils? The Chinese government has remained tight-lipped about the identity of the developer behind the humanoid security robots. But industry insiders have their suspicions. At the top of the list is Unveils, a rising force in Chinese robotics that has dazzled global audiences with its G1 and H1 humanoid models. Known for their lifelike fluidity and cutting-edge AI, these robots are already redefining what it means to merge machine with emotion. Unveils isn't just building robots, it's building an image, one of power, precision, and presence. The company made waves when its robots performed elegant, synchronized dances at Lunar New Year celebrations, combining cultural heritage with technological prowess in a way that felt both futuristic and deeply rooted in national pride. But behind the artistry lies military-grade engineering. Their robots aren't just pretty performers. They're advanced machines capable of real-time decision-making, physical agility, and emotional calibration. If Unveils is indeed the developer behind President Xi's robotic guards, it would mark their transition from a tech marvel to a national security asset. Their humanoid bots already use facial recognition, language processing, and predictive behavior models, skills that translate seamlessly into the high-stakes world of executive protection. And while no official confirmation has surfaced, the circumstantial evidence is compelling. UNR has the scale, the funding, and the government relationships to make such a leap. Their R&D facilities are among the most advanced in Asia, and their commitment to robotics as a vehicle for national advancement aligns closely with China's broader tech ambitions. If true, this would mark the moment UNRY shifts from being admired to being feared. And to understand the gravity of that, we need to examine what these robotic bodyguards might actually be capable of. What these robotic guards might actually do. While China has not released a technical dossier on its humanoid protectors, defense analysts and robotics experts are already piecing together what these machines could realistically do. This isn't about Hollywood-style laser battles or metallic giants stomping through crowds. It's about precision, data, and decision-making under pressure. Imagine a robot that can scan hundreds of faces in seconds, identify anomalies in posture, gait, or even micro-expressions, and flag them before a human eye could blink. These machines likely operate with the fusion of biometric recognition, behavior analysis, and environmental scanning. Think of them as mobile surveillance hubs, silently tracking potential threats with mathematical precision. They're probably unarmed for now, but not unprepared. Non-lethal deterrents such as sonic emitters or immobilizers may be integrated discreetly. They could also serve as first responders in emergencies, using AI to triage injuries or guide evacuees to safety. Perhaps most critically, these robots don't sleep. They don't get distracted. They don't react emotionally. That makes them ideal for supporting human security teams, identifying subtle cues, filtering false positives, and providing instantaneous communication to command centers. But they're not meant to replace human guards, at least not yet. Instead, they act as force multipliers, empowering teams to respond faster and more intelligently. It's a collaboration where machine speed meets human judgment, a blend of instinct and algorithm. And when those algorithms start collecting and sharing intelligence, that's when the game really changes. Surveillance and intelligence, the hidden advantage. Beneath the sleek exteriors and robotic polish lies the real power of these machines. Intelligence gathering. These humanoid protectors are more than just bodyguards. They're surveillance units wrapped in human form, equipped with high-resolution cameras, infrared sensors, and directional microphones. They function as walking data centers. And that changes the game in ways most people haven't even begun to grasp. These robots don't just watch, they analyze. Crowd movements, emotional spikes, even subtle changes in environmental conditions can be fed into real-time data models. From there, threat assessments are generated not in minutes, but milliseconds. They don't need to call it in, they are the network. Every shift in body language, every raised voice, every sudden movement, processed, categorized, and either flagged or dismissed by algorithms evolving constantly through machine learning. They also expand surveillance range in 3 dimensions. With heat mapping, audio triangulation, and even magnetic field sensors, they can see things cameras and humans can't. Hidden weapons, concealed devices, or physiological stress indicators that suggest hostile intent. And every byte of data they collect is sent back to centralized command systems for aggregation. That means better predictive modeling, not just for the current moment, but for future planning. Over time, they'll not only detect threats, they'll anticipate them. This kind of omnipresent intelligence layer is unprecedented in personal security, and it points to a larger truth. We're not just seeing the rise of robotic protection, we're seeing the emergence of a new surveillance era, one where information is as powerful as armor. Up next, how this security shift reflects a broader robotic revolution already underway in China. China's robotic law enforcement revolution. What we're seeing with presidential bodyguards isn't a one-off. It's part of a sweeping transformation in how China approaches public safety. Long before humanoid robots joined the presidential security detail, China had already begun rolling out autonomous patrol units in its cities. From airport terminals to busy plazas, robotic law enforcement officers have quietly become a part of everyday life, and their evolution has been nothing short of remarkable. These robots aren't tethered to flat floors and simple routes. Designed to handle uneven terrain, navigate stairs, and detect obstacles in real time, they're built for the unpredictability of real-world environments. With onboard sensors, AI-assisted navigation, and facial recognition systems, these patrol units are able to identify individuals, assess potential risks, and even issue vocal warnings to the public. In cities like Hangzhou and Shenzhen, They've already been deployed during major public events, managing crowds, detecting unauthorized gatherings, and relaying live feeds back to command centers. What might seem like novelty elsewhere is becoming normalized in China, a robotic presence that maintains order without fatigue or fear. Their advantage is obvious: reduced risk to human officers, quicker data analysis, and consistency in high-stress environments. But what's more telling is how their deployment fits into a larger national strategy: reduce human exposure where possible, and let machines take the front line. These robotic officers are the precursors to a much broader shift, one that's already redefining what security, presence, and authority look like in the 21st century. And yet, as robotics take on harder security roles, another evolution is quietly unfolding. Machines that don't just act with logic, but respond with empathy, the rise of emotionally aware robots. It's easy to think of robots as cold, calculated machines built for precision, not connection. But in China's latest generation of humanoid development, a new kind of intelligence is emerging, one that doesn't just read the room, but feels it. Enter QWOA, the flagship of the Reina series, a hyper-realistic robot capable of recognizing and responding to human emotions in real time. Not programmed empathy, perceptive empathy. With integrated facial analysis, voice modulation reading, and full body language tracking, QWOA can determine stress levels, identify distress signals, and adjust its own tone and expression to de-escalate tense situations. In controlled trials, QWOA has been shown to calm upset citizens, answer emotionally charged questions with empathy, and create a sense of presence that verges on the uncanny. While this may seem more suited to customer service or healthcare, the implications for security are immense. In volatile environments, emotional recognition can be a powerful tool. Knowing when a voice is about to crack, when fear is morphing into aggression, or when a person needs comfort more than control, that's where human intelligence has always excelled. Now, machines are catching up. Emotionally aware robots won't replace human interaction, but they may soften the edges of machine-led authority. In high-stakes diplomacy, hostage negotiations, or disaster response, they could act not just as protectors, but as mediators. The future of robotics may not be cold steel, it might be warm nuance. That nuance becomes even more critical when movement itself becomes the message, and that's exactly what's driving the next leap in robotic design. Engineering brilliance behind movement. Meet PM01. If robots are to blend seamlessly into human spaces, particularly in security, they must move like us. Not rigid, not robotic, but fluid, natural, intuitive. That's the challenge Engine AI set out to solve with its PM01 humanoid model. And the result is breathtaking. With 24 degrees of freedom, ultra-lightweight aluminum framing, and servo-powered muscle articulation, PM01 doesn't just walk, it glides. This isn't theoretical. PM01 recently made headlines when it performed complex dance routines with human partners on national television. Viewers were stunned not just by the robot's accuracy, but by its grace. The routines required balance, core control, timing, and reaction, all of which PM01 executed with precision. But behind the artistry lies a deeper purpose. In a crowd, movement matters. Security operatives need to pivot quickly, step around obstacles, and adapt without delay. PM01's movement systems are designed with this in mind: crowd engagement, threat navigation, and rapid response. It can accelerate, brace, dodge, or redirect attention in milliseconds. And when needed, it can do so without drawing undue notice. Movement becomes both a defense and a disguise. In protection scenarios, the difference between safe and unsafe can be measured in steps. The ability to move humanly without hesitation or overcorrection makes PM01 not just a marvel of robotics, but a legitimate contender in elite security roles. And yet, even as humanoids command attention, China has been building a fleet of machines that run lower to the ground, faster, sturdier, and possibly more versatile. The public debut of humanoid patrol units. The true measure of technology isn't what it can do in the lab, it's what it can do in the wild. That's why all eyes were on Chongqing in early 2025, when humanoid robots and robotic dogs made their public debut as patrol units during the city's marathon. It was more than a tech demonstration, it was a real-world stress test in one of the most unpredictable environments imaginable. A live, crowded, high-energy public event. The robots didn't just stroll the sidelines, they monitored runner vitals, scanned faces in the crowd, and coordinated with human teams on security sweeps. Some used drones for aerial scanning, others held stations near key checkpoints. And the robotic dogs? They roamed with eerie agility, navigating terrain and people with precision that was equal parts fascinating and unsettling. The message was clear. These machines aren't waiting in a lab, they're out in the world. And more importantly, the crowd accepted them. Kids posed for photos. Parents looked curious, not anxious. The robots weren't seen as threats. They were part of the event. This public trial served a dual purpose. First, it showcased operational viability under pressure. Second, it tested societal readiness. The results? High marks on both fronts. And while Western nations debate regulations and ethics, China is conducting field trials. The marathon was a milestone, but the next generation of machines now hitting production floors is built not for pacing crowds, but for chasing down danger. A new generation of robotic dogs. Meet Geo 5 Sleek, agile, unrelenting. The Geo 5 robotic dog is unlike anything seen before in the realm of autonomous ground units. Developed by Shenzhen OCAF Technology, this machine is the latest evolution in China's robotic security arsenal. And it's built to hunt, patrol, and adapt on the fly. Unlike earlier versions that were limited by slope or terrain, the Geo 5 can tackle 45-degree inclines, leap obstacles, and carry up to 120 kilograms of gear. It runs at 5 meters per second, fast enough to intercept, flank, or flee if needed. But what's most impressive is what it sees. Equipped with gas sensors, thermal imaging, and biometric analysis tools, Geo 5 doesn't just react, it anticipates. In hostile situations, it could be deployed to sniff out chemical threats, detect hidden weaponry, or even serve as an autonomous bomb scout. In urban security, it could patrol perimeters, monitor blind spots, or escort dignitaries through high-risk zones. And with its enhanced battery life, it can stay operational far longer than human or canine counterparts. But Geo 5 isn't just a tool, it's a deterrent. Its presence alone can alter the psychology of a potential assailant. It doesn't blink, it doesn't hesitate, and if needed, it doesn't back down. As China continues to fuse AI with mobility, machines like Geo 5 signal a shift from passive surveillance to active defense. The days of fixed cameras and reactive protection may be numbered. What's emerging now is something faster, smarter, and always on the move. Next, we take a look inside the homes and cities where robotics aren't just protecting lives, but living alongside them. Robots at home and work, ABOT's domestic intelligence. While robots guarding presidents grab headlines, another transformation is quietly unfolding in homes and workplaces across China. Domestic robotics, once considered a luxury or novelty, has matured into something practical, intuitive, and increasingly indispensable. And leading that charge is iBot, a domestic robotics company whose latest generation of humanoid assistants is turning science fiction into everyday routine. These aren't your average cleaning bots. iBot's humanoids can cook, clean, organize, and even hold casual conversation. What sets them apart is their ability to learn, not just tasks, but environments. Equipped with spatial awareness, voice command integration, and adaptive learning systems, these robots improve over time, customizing routines based on the habits and needs of their users. What makes this more than a smart home gimmick is the seamless integration of iBot's domestic models with China's broader AI ecosystem. These robots don't just operate independently. They're plugged into citywide grids, capable of receiving updates, sharing data, and even reporting anomalies if something appears out of place. That functionality, while useful for convenience, also makes them powerful tools for passive surveillance and environmental monitoring. As their presence grows in households and public spaces, they serve a dual purpose: to assist and to observe. Their use in elder care, for instance, allows them to detect falls or medical emergencies and notify authorities. In schools and offices, they support administrative tasks and guide visitors. It's not hard to imagine a future where a personal robot is as common as a smartphone, an ever-present assistant with eyes, ears, and the ability to act. This dual development track, defense and domestic, also lowers production costs and accelerates AI learning through sheer volume of use. Every home a lab, every task a training loop, and through it all, public. Trust continues to build. That trust is being further reinforced in an unexpected way, through performance. Because in China, even robots dance, and when they do, the whole world watches. The cultural impact of dancing robots. In a world dominated by technical benchmarks and market performance, sometimes the most powerful impact is emotional. That's exactly what happened when Dai's G1 and H1 robots stepped onto the national stage during China's Lunar New Year Gala. Draped in traditional attire, synchronized in motion, these humanoid machines didn't just mimic dance, they embodied it. And in doing so, they stirred something deeper than fascination. They evoked awe, broadcast to hundreds of millions across China and to millions more internationally. The performance wasn't just a flex of engineering. It was a statement that in the hands of China's technologists, machines aren't just functional, they're expressive, they're cultural, they're part of the national identity. The symbolism wasn't lost on viewers. In a country where ancient heritage is deeply valued, having robots perform traditional dance created a powerful image of harmony between past and future. Technology wasn't replacing culture, it was preserving and enhancing it. And this matters, because acceptance of new technologies often depends on how well they fit into the stories societies tell themselves. By weaving robotics into familiar rituals, China is normalizing machines not just in factories or streets, but in hearts and homes. It's a subtle but profound kind of soft power, one that promotes emotional connectivity with what would otherwise be seen as cold hardware. But the implications go beyond PR. These performances serve as advanced stress tests for robot movement, synchronization, and real-time AI responsiveness. Underneath the artistry lies brutal engineering, the ability to process music, human timing, crowd feedback, and spatial balance simultaneously. If a robot can dance with a human on national television, it can certainly navigate a chaotic crowd or diffuse a tense negotiation. And as robots gain the public's admiration, they also gain something more valuable: legitimacy. That makes it easier to deploy them in security, healthcare, education, and yes, leadership protection. All of this is possible in part because of one technology that underpins nearly every robot China builds: facial recognition. Why facial recognition is at the heart of it all? At the core of China's rapidly evolving robot infrastructure lies one powerful, often controversial capability: facial recognition. It's the invisible lens through which robots understand, interpret, and interact with the world. And in security roles, from patrolling marathons to guarding heads of state, this technology is no longer a bonus. It's the foundation. Facial recognition in China has moved beyond simple identification. It now includes emotion analysis, behavioral mapping, and predictive modeling. For humanoid bodyguards, this means identifying known threats before they act. For domestic robots, it means distinguishing between household members and guests. For law enforcement units, it's about scanning crowds and linking biometric data to criminal databases in real time. Privacy concerns are valid and ongoing, but from a technological standpoint, the efficiency is staggering. A robot in a busy plaza can scan thousands of faces in minutes, cross-reference them with cloud databases, and flag anomalies without blinking. Combine that with body heat mapping, vocal tone analysis, and gait recognition, and you have a system capable of detecting potential threats faster and often more accurately than a human team. This level of automation is what enables robots to act as autonomous sentinels, watching with a kind of perpetual calm. They don't panic, they don't lose focus, and they don't forget faces. It's also why China's robotics program has advanced so rapidly. Facial recognition isn't just a feature, it's an engine. It powers everything from access control in smart buildings to emotion-aware interactions in public kiosks. It allows robots to personalize their behavior, assess safety risks, and engage with humans in ways that feel natural, even intimate. Critics in the West are raising alarms over surveillance overreach. But within China, the narrative is about safety, efficiency, and national progress. And now that same engine is driving China's robots onto the global stage. Because while China builds its robot security empire at home, the West is being forced to reckon with a sobering truth. The AI arms race. Is the West falling behind? As China's robotic guardians make global headlines, a hard question is echoing through the halls of Western defense, think tanks, and tech boards. Are we falling behind? For decades, the West led the charge in advanced AI and robotics, but now, with humanoid bodyguards, intelligent patrol dogs, and emotion-reading machines, it's China setting the pace and the precedent. In the US, presidential security still relies on the elite but traditional human agents, armored vehicles, and encrypted comms. In Europe, public safety discussions are more focused on privacy rights than robotic patrols. Meanwhile, in China, robots are already being tested in real-life scenarios, safeguarding marathons, scanning crowds, assisting in law enforcement, and even offering emotional support. BYD, Huawei, and emerging firms like WinRAI and iBot are accelerating at speeds few Western companies can match, thanks to massive state investment, policy alignment, and a culture of rapid iteration. And while Western companies debate ethics and scalability, Chinese robots are dancing, learning, and guarding leaders in real time. The divide is becoming more than just technological, it's philosophical. The West views robots as tools. China sees them as partners, protectors, even performers. This cultural embrace of robotics gives China a domestic edge and a growing export advantage. Nations looking for scalable, reliable security systems are starting to look east. This may well be a Sputnik moment for AI, a global wake-up call. When the Soviet Union launched the first satellite, it reshaped space policy and defense thinking worldwide. Today, humanoid robots guarding presidents may feel symbolic, but symbols have power, and the message is clear. China is no longer catching up. It's forging ahead. The world is watching. But if others don't respond soon, they may not be able to catch up at all. And that brings us to the final looming question, the one that moves beyond speculation and into inevitability. The future. Is this the start of robot-led protection worldwide? The moment President Xi Jinping walked alongside humanoid robots, the question wasn't if the world would follow, but when. This isn't just a national milestone for China, it's a global signal that the future of personal protection is shifting toward automation, toward intelligence, and inevitably toward machines. What begins with leaders rarely ends with them. History tells us that once new security paradigms are adopted at the top, they cascade downward. Embassies, consulates, VIP protection, airport security, political summits, every sphere of high-risk interaction becomes a candidate for robotic integration. Not because it's flashy, but because it's effective. Machines don't hesitate, they don't forget, and they don't blink under pressure. If China's robotic security proves stable, reliable, and adaptable, other nations won't be far behind. Already, global militaries are researching autonomous security units. Private security firms are watching closely. The Olympic Games, global conferences, and political summits will soon become stages for robotic trials, not as sideshows, but as frontline defense. This shift isn't just about protecting people, it's about redefining what protection is. From sci-fi visions of android guards to very real prototypes walking streets today, we are crossing into a new era. One where machines serve not only as extensions of power, but as its armor. And while ethical debates, regulatory hurdles, and public acceptance will shape the path forward, the direction is clear. The era of human-only protection is ending. The era of human-robot collaboration in security is beginning. The world's most powerful leaders won't just be watched by cameras or shielded by men in suits. They'll be surrounded by sentient systems, learning constantly, responding instantly, and evolving with every breath the crowd takes. This isn't tomorrow's question anymore. It's today's reality. And from here on out, global security may never look the same.